Welcome back to another episode of the Midas Touches. We're back after a 2-week hiatus. I think much needed hiatus after we were both present at the Glastonbury festival, which was, as expected, one of the great weekends of the year. I think it is one of the best things that the UK has to offer. Charlie, Glastonbury, how are you feeling? Have you recovered?
Yeah, I just about got back to it. I had a week off work afterwards, which
whole week
did help. Yeah, it wasn't intentional, as in I did book it off intentionally, but it was only because I needed to use up the holiday, so it was not. I think I could have gone back to work on Wednesday, but that's what I told myself anyway. But yeah, back at work this week, been thrown into the deep end a bit. We're very busy at the moment, it being the transfer window, of course. So yeah, a lot going on. So a bit of snap back to reality, but at the same time, racing is back on the agenda for me and for you. Very excited. Good weekend to look forward to. I know we'll do a bit of a review of Ascot, which perhaps didn't go entirely our way, though we did have a couple of decent results. But yeah, excited to be happy to be back.
100%. It's great to be back, and we're excited. But I think going back to Glastonbury, we can't move on before talking about our favourite performance. Who was yours?
Yeah, well, as I've said to people who have asked me this, my favourite was a guy called Brucey, who maybe not all of you know, but he is a rapper from Nottingham. I myself being from Nottingham and a Nottingham Forest fan, which he is also. It was a very special performance. A lot of Forest fans in the crowd, you Reds, and yeah, it was just a great feeling. It was on the Friday, so full of excitement at my first full day at the festival, and yeah, it was a great way to tee it off. But so many brilliant performances. Obviously, we were both present at Lewis Capaldi, which was a very emotional performance.
Yeah, I think that was definitely that was probably the best moment of my festival, even though it was kind of also the saddest. And you know, Lewis maybe isn't going to be performing for a while. Yeah. But it was special to be a part of that. 100%.
Yeah, definitely, and I guess it just sort of encapsulated what exactly Glastonbury is about.
It's got a weird feeling to it, doesn't it? I think it's the ley lines.
It's exactly what it is, actually. Yeah,
I genuinely think it has some sort of weird pagan energy. Anyway, this is a racing podcast. It's not a Glastonbury Festival podcast. But hopefully we can channel some of that pagan energy into tipping up some winners this week. But before we go on to this week, let's first just look back at Royal Ascot. It was a ridiculous week. I think I saw a stat that said that if you backed every single horse that ran at Royal Ascot with a £10 stake, you would have ended up with £600 profit.
Yeah, I heard that one also. So, yeah, definitely a ridiculous week. As I said previously, it was just a bit of a difficult one for us. I felt a bit like I did last year, weirdly, where I wasn't quite satisfied with it. And it's an odd one because, like, in theory, it should go really well because you know a lot of the horses, or you know all the horses really. You know the form lines really well, and you should be able to judge it. But
yeah,
it always does throw up some short results. I mean, the one that screams out to me is like Distaff. Like in the Prince of Wales's, we were big on Bay Bridge.
He absolutely bolted up as well.
But that was bolted up, and there was literally nothing in the form to show that he could beat pretty much any of those horses.
What do you think it is?
I honestly couldn't tell you even now. Yeah. I couldn't tell you. He is so overperformed, and you know, yeah, he's won a lot of prize money, but he went and won the Saudi Cup or whatever. Yeah, did he win the Saudi Cup or come second?
Yeah,
he may come. Anyway, you know, he is nowhere near the horse that you know Adiyar is or Bay Bridge is on a going day. So I found that result particularly bizarre. But you do get those at Ascot, and for whatever reason it is, sometimes it's more easily explained. But
I think in the races with the bigger fields, it's quite often there's a really strong pace. and the horses that finish well do quite well. Ascot's got a stiff track at the finish as well. But those ones where there's like 5-6 runners, Group 1, you get those all year round.
The Prince of Wales is always a small field as well, so it really does baffle me. And you can't talk about draw bias or anything like track bias.
It wasn't
anything
soft
like
ground.
That. Yeah, it's genuinely mental. So that one really was a big head scratcher for me. I then had the added disappointment of my nap for the festival coming second, which I was genuinely gutted about. And she obviously then bolted up last weekend at the Curragh. So really
frustrating.
But and then my other one that I was thinking about was Random Harvest, who I tipped at 40-1 on the pod, who came second. Really thought by a neck as well. Really thought that one might win.
To Rogue Millennium, who I was on. I think the definitely the highlight of my week came on day one as Equilateral just snuggled into fifth for that 5-1 winner, which was lovely. But that was about where the luck ended for the week. I think we'll move on from Royal Ascot this year. There's plenty more opportunities throughout the racing calendar. This weekend we've got the Coral Eclipse. We had the Irish Derby on Sunday. August Rodin won by the biggest efforts of Coolmore that I've ever seen. Adelaide River wasn't even touched.
Yeah. I mean, they did have over half the field, so...
Yeah, but do you think... And what's your opinion on that? I mean, it's quite interesting. Clearly, they want August Rodin to win as many of these big races as they can for the breeding value.
Yeah.
But that being so high profile, do you think people take that into account when they're seeing August Rodin bred horses in the future? The fact that the Irish Derby, it was as if he didn't win. Definitely Racing Twitter was suggesting that, at least. Adelaide River, seemed to be travelling really well. And shame he did not touch him.
Sorry, what's the point you're trying to make, though?
Well, just the fact that, yes, he won the race, August Rodin, but would he actually have won it on merit? Maybe not. But
Coolmore are never going to put that in his stud card.
No, I know, but they won't.
Not going to be like.
But the people buying the horses might remember the race. Is what I'm trying to say.
They may well, but I don't know. I think it's more likely that they'll just take a look at the 5 Group 1s that will end up winning.
They won't look that deep.
and they'll kind of forget about the Irish Derby result, and kind of who really cares about the Irish Derby these days? As in, it's always a far weaker race anyway. So than the English equivalent. I mean, but yeah.
Another huge winner for George Bowie on the weekend. Via Sistina, who's definitely a podcast favourite, winning George's second Group 1. Hell of a result there. And in Ireland as well. To win a Group 1 in Ireland with Via Sistina, who, really, I think she picked up for $5,000.
Is that right? Yeah. I mean, really incredible. And she's obviously come on leaps and bounds this season. I tipped her at Newmarket when she won very well, and some people may have sort of disparaged that result, saying that obviously the ground was very soft, so far more in her favour. But for Bowie to go out and do that and pick up a Group 1 out there was really fantastic to see. And happy to see her win. I have to say, I thought Above the Curve might go and do it there, just because Aidan O'Brien out in Ireland, George Bowie's a great trainer, but to go take on the big man himself out in Ireland on home soil, it's a difficult thing. And Above the Curve, Ryan Moore's great at a front running ride, but came up short. So a very, very good result for George Bowie, and well done to Connections there. Very, very shrewd pickup.
It was. I mean, the way that George has trained his horses over the last 4 years, picking up the 1,000 guineas last year with Cachet. I mean, his horses just go from strength to strength. And actually, I think I was watching Windsor on Monday night, and you realise that actually there are some young trainers out there who don't just go straight into the limelight and don't just pick up those big owners, big rides. But George has just managed the start of his career so well. What do you think it is?
Well, he's clearly quite a personable guy for a start, and that does help. I think what a lot of people are looking for when they go into ownership is in a trainer is someone that they can, you know, have a nice chat with, can get on well with, and just talk about, you know, their shared passion, the sport that they love, and he's clearly very good at doing that. So he's obviously forged some good relationships. People trust him. People keep sending horses back to him, and yeah, you know, so long as you start stumping out the results fairly quickly. Yeah. Then people aren't going to desert you anytime soon, and he'll just end up going from strength to strength.
Yeah, you need to have a quick start in your racing career. George has. Hopefully we can get off to a quick start on Saturday. The first race that we're looking at is the Coral Charge, 5 furlongs. Marshman is the favourite, who's been a real hype horse of this year. Kind of yet to really flourish since that reappearance win. Ryan Moore gets the ride today, 5-1 favourite. As a result, Anaf is second favourite, 11-2. Equilateral, my favourite horse in training, not really, but won the race in my eyes. Came fifth in the King's Stand, 6-1. Get Ahead, one that we like, 7s, quality 8s. Really good field. This very competitive race. What was your opinion?
Yeah, this is actually one of my favourite races of the year. Weirdly enough, I think like Sandown 5 furlongs is such an idiosyncratic task, or race. It's a brilliant spectacle, and I'd advise anyone to watch it, even if you're not going to have a bet. But it's sure to be an interesting watch. I mean, Marshman, as you say, he was a very strong juvenile, but he's been mostly well beaten by older rivals this year so far. Ryan Moore booking is very interesting, clearly, but I probably wouldn't have him favourite here. And actually, a couple of others towards the top of the market as well have big holes in them. Anaf hasn't.
Seems more of an all-weather horse.
Yeah, never won on turf, so that doesn't necessarily bode well either. Equilateral, as much as we love the horse, he's probably a bit vulnerable for win purposes, and he's not a place betting price here. Get Ahead is interesting. I think Clive Cox definitely believes that this one has a win in him, and Connections did win with Curious a couple of years ago, so he'd be interesting. I'm going to throw it to you here, because I'd actually sort of agree with where you're coming at this race from. So yeah, do you want to tell everyone what you think?
Well, yeah, I mean, I thought Get Ahead was definitely interesting. Came a really close second last time when pulled back to 5 furlongs out in Chantilly in a Group 2. But looking at this race, it's so competitive. And actually, Carl Burke, I think the second string, the supposed second string, is a really interesting contender. The Scurry Stakes seems to be a very good piece, a good form guide for this race. 4 of the last 12 winners or runners, 4 horses ran in the Scurry Stakes on their last start before running in this race. 3 of those 4 won. And the winner of the Scurry Stakes this year was a filly called Lady Hamana, who I think won that really impressively at quite a big price, granted. And the favourite that day, Tajala, actually there was a different favourite. I can't remember what it was. The name escapes me at the moment. But Lady Hamana really won that fair and square, going away at the finish. She's 14-1 here, and I just think that's overpriced. I think the punters have come for the favourite, the hype horse Marshman, but I think Lady Hamana is really squeaking in here. Clifford Lee's booked, so looking like it's going to run. Course and distance form's obviously strong, especially at Sandown, reasonably unique track. So yeah, for me, Lady Hamana I think has been completely overlooked. It wouldn't surprise me if it started a little bit shorter, maybe not a lot, but definitely has some good form that I think's been ignored here.
Yeah, the other thing, and going back to the jockey booking, it's almost a blessing in disguise that Ryan Moore's booked on Marshman, because it means that Lady Hamana can be ridden by Clifford Lee, who would be Carl Burke's first choice jockey. So, and who rode that horse to victory in the Scurry Stakes. So that's another positive to her name. The one issue I probably have is that she's still a 2-year-old. She was a really late foal, born in August. So I don't know what kind of record they have in this race, but
not a great one. 3-year-olds have a good record, and I think she gets the 3-year-old allowance. It's really strange.
I think she has a 2-year-old allowance in here. Anyway, but I agree. I really like the thinking behind that trend. I would perhaps at a similar price consider Tajala as well, just because that one was clearly still showing signs of greenness, having only run 3 times. Tajala was second in that Scurry Stakes, and that was only his 3rd ever career run. So very unexposed. We'll learn from that and could probably do a bit better. The price differential was not quite there, and Tajala's not booked up with a ride. But yeah, I think the form line is the trend there is really interesting. So either of those ones, both at double figure odds, which seems bizarre to me. So yeah, either one you can maybe take a play at.
Yeah, I think it's a competitive field there. So taking on the favourite, you're going to get a bit of value each way. 14-1, not a terrible play. The ground as well, it looks like it's going to be dry for the next couple of days, then some thunderstorms potentially on Saturday at Sandown, so kind of difficult to really predict now how the ground's going to be. It's good to soft at the moment, probably going to be good ground, you would have thought, unless there's a huge downpour. I would have thought Lady Havana probably wants around good to perform to her best. We'll see what happens there. Let's move on. Let's go up to Haydock for the Lancashire Oaks. A race that in recent years has been dominated by John Gosden. I think he's won 6 of the last 12. Last year with Free Wind for the same connections as the favourite this year, Mimikyu for George Strawbridge. Mimikyu's had 1 run this season, finished 2nd. 11-8 favourite. Rab Havlin takes the ride. Frankie Dettori is honouring his ban now, which will see him out, including the July meeting at Newmarket, which is a great shame. Sea Silk Road, 2nd favourite. William Haggis, currently no jockey on board, but won last time over course and distance, so you would have thought will probably turn up here. Aristia 6s for the Hannon team. Ross Carberry, who has been a really good horse this year, came back on reappearance and won, and then last time out was just touched off in 4th. Time Lock 10s for the informed Charlton team. They've been flying recently, 6 from 18 in the last 2 weeks. Do you think it's as simple as that? Mimikyu goes and wins this? Gozzi's had a real stranglehold in this race in recent years.
Yeah, and that's got to be noted. I would be interested if Ross Carberry goes for this race. Again, not jocked up and
I'm seeing Oceanor jocked up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I'm wrong. I mean, if
refresh
he does,
the page, sir.
if he does go, then or if she goes rather, it could be quite interesting because, of course, we were talking about Via Sistina earlier. Ross Carberry finished 4th behind Via Sistina in the Pretty Polly last time out, which in of itself is incredibly strong form and really probably some of the best form in here, if not the best bit of form in here. I'd be interested if Ross Carberry turns up. If you say he's jocked up, then that would definitely be of interest. But yeah, I don't have a massively strong opinion on the race otherwise. I've always found Mimikyu to be a bit hit and miss.
Yeah.
So there's a big word of warning on that one. I wouldn't personally be taking short prices about that horse based on sort of a couple of bad runs chucked into what has otherwise been a good record. So yeah, Ross Carberry looks interesting. Aristia's got close form with that one, though it was well beaten last time, but that was on reappearance. So yeah, it's a difficult race. I haven't put much thought into.
I've just refreshed my page and actually Oshinor's disappeared. So I think maybe Ross Carberry won't turn up. I think that Danny Tudhope picks up a good ride here, Seasick Road. I was really strong on Time Lock last time out. Time Lock looked a bit of a boat, didn't really pick up. Great ride from Tom Marquand on Sea Silk Road, last to first, finished off strongly, seemed to have Peripatetic covered in that. Sorry, no, Poptronic seem to have that covered. Although clearly Poptronics are a much bigger price at 14s here. But Sea Silk Road that's travelling into that really nicely. Won at over course and distance last time out. And I think against the favourite 11-8, I'll probably be with Sea Silk Road. Haggis team going quite well. They've had winners about 20% last 2 weeks. I don't think William Haggis has won this race in the last sort of 12-15 years, but I find it difficult to back Mimikyu just because of the fact that she is quite hit and miss. Sea Silk Road for me in this one.
Nice.
Let's go back down to Sandown. The 3 o'clock is the Coral Distaff, and at the top of the market we have the Royal Ascot winning Coppice. Coppice, I think, went off 6-1 joint favourite for that. Has clearly been one that the Gosden team have liked and have campaigned quite cleverly to try and win those races. Turns up in a listed race here. Reopposes the second on that day, Briege. And in between those two in the market is Silver Lady for the Charlie Apple team at 11-4. Do you think this is Coppice's race to lose, or do you think Briege can put it up to them? Or is there another contender that you've got your eye on?
I mean, there'd be another contender I have my eye on who I think has a bit better form than the rest of these have shown. I mean, obviously, Coppice, as you say, is a Royal Ascot winner. I mean, that was in a handicap, of course, the Sandringham. Brie closely matched on that form, and there's not much in it between them. Maybe at the odds, Brie's probably a better bet at 9-2 than Coppice is at 7-4, given they were so close together at the finish. And Brie came for a long way back. I mean, I quite like a pretty unexposed runner in this field, and that's Stenton Glider. Probably not the unexposed runner that you thought I might say, because I just think that though she really did bomb out in the 1,000 guineas at Newmarket, she's also finished second 2 times, once in a Group 3 and once in a Group 2 this season. I mean, that Group 2 was out in Germany. It was the German 1,000 guineas, but it's a Group 2 nonetheless, and a decent bit of campaigning probably from Hugo Palmer to send her over there. But I think that this one comes in here with a bit better form than some of these further up the market. I mean, admittedly, this one's only 15-2, but I quite like the profile. I think any sort of cut in the ground will also help this horse based on that run in the Fred Darling. Is it the Fred Darling? Which is the fillies one?
Yeah.
At Newbury. It is the Fred Darling. Yeah, it's the green. Yeah, sorry, the Fred Darling. But yeah, based on that, I think she'll want a bit of cut in the ground. That was the next second behind Remarque. So yeah, I just like to take on the first 3 in the field and look to this one to, come up at a good price.
Interesting as well that race out in Dusseldorf back in third was Dream of Love, who then went and ran in the Sandringham, was 7th at 20-1. Not too far behind Coppice and Briege, who clearly come here as 2 market principals. Yeah. And Stenton Glider was 2 1/4 lengths in front of Dream of Love that day. So quite clear. So definitely, I think an interesting value shout from you there, and probably not as far off the market principles as the market suggests at the moment.
Yeah, sorry, just on that. I'm just looking here.
Dream of Love, yeah.
No, it was in the same group as the rest, so yeah, was on the side where the track bar.
But I guess the other argument here is Charlie Appleby was in horrendous form during Royal Ascot, didn't have a single winner, and he's backfiring now. So look, I mean, maybe Stenton Glider is actually a little bit better than Dream of Love was in that race. So I don't know. Let's definitely one to kind of consider. I actually quite like the Charlie Appleby runner in here, Silver Lady. partly because of that. I think Appleby is banging form again, and the market is probably still underestimating his horses, maybe slightly. Silver Lady's clearly really still unexposed, run twice, won comfortably on debut, didn't beat too much, and then last time out was second in a race up at York, in a listed race up at York, behind Sounds of Heaven, who finished really close behind Tahira last time in the coronation at Royal Ascot. Queen for You was second last that day, but they finished very close in this race at York, and I think Silver Lady looked pretty green at the finish, and hopefully is a lot better today. So I think Cop is clearly a strong favourite, but I think Silver Lady is definitely one to watch. Appleby clearly has some really real big guns, and I think this could be a filly to watch.
There should be a word of warning there, because it looks like Will Bjork's dropped up on Bridestones.
It does. I don't know if that's... I mean, yeah.
It's quite odd for John and Thady Gosden as well, rather than Appleby. So maybe Silver Lady doesn't go here. So definitely be careful with that one. I would just mention, going back to the Sandringham, the horse that finished first of the Farside group back in 8th was Magical Sunset, who might come here. Admittedly, this one hasn't won yet this term, but wasn't too far back in the Fred Darling at the start of the season. Then sort of dropped back down in trip and ran a pretty average race at Ascot. But yeah, so I would maybe have a look at that one if she gets jocked up. I know she hasn't won, but she's 12-1 at the moment, so she's a decent each way price as it stands. And and the draw bias was a big thing. The first 7 home were from the near side in that Sandringham, so she did well to finish 8th.
Very interesting. I think if Silver Lady does get taken out, Stentor Glider for me would be the bet. I think if Silver Lady gets taken out, then it Breege is likely to go shorter, as is Stentor Glider, so 15-2 is probably not a bad price for that one. Sneak in a little dirty each way bet. 340 at Sandown is the big one of the weekend, the Coral Eclipse. 2 hugely impressive horses coming in here. Paddington, who was mightily impressive in the St James's Palace Stakes, absolutely smashed up Chaldean. A big winner for Coolmore there, 11-8 favourite here. Emily Upjohn, 13-8 for the Lloyd Webbers. Jonathan Gosden, Will Buick will take the ride here. Frankie clearly honouring his band, as we spoke about earlier. And Matt is 8s, Dubai Honour 14s. Luxembourg 20s, currently without a jockey though, so difficult to know if Luxembourg's going to turn up here. West Wind Blows is 33-1. It looks a bit of a ding dong battle with those top 2 in the market, but as we found out the hard way in the Prince of Wales, and Matt, the Shadwell horse is 8-1. Are we worrying about overlooking Anmar, or do you think it's just between Paddington and Emily Upjohn?
Nah, I'm not gonna let one bad experience put me off, and I think it probably is between the top 2 in the market. The last 5 runnings of this race would suggest that one of the top 2 has won this race in the last 5 years. I think for me, Emily Upjohn. You've been spending too much time in Manchester, mate. Yeah, she just edges it.
I actually quite like the Manchester accent, by the way.
She just edges it given the course and distance form. I'd say probably she's only really had one bad run in her life, which is in the King George VI last year, where she completely bombed out for no apparent reason. But yeah, she comes in here off the back of a good win in the Coronation Cup, and a commanding win really, and Gosden's won this race 4 times. I think he's the winning most trainer of this race. So yeah, for me, I think I'd have her probably. Paddington, I don't know, is a big improving horse, because
it's been crazy.
I couldn't believe that one won the Irish 2000, to be honest, and was so well supported, having only gone there winning a listed race prior to that or something. But Aiden does that often, and was clearly stepped up again to win at Royal Ascot. So definitely fear Paddington, but Emily Upjohn looks a really solid bet for me.
Yeah, she does. She does. I think I'm kind of looking at that 2,000 guineas form now and having second thoughts about it. I don't know if Chaldine is maybe as good. Emily Upjohn. I mean, the Westover form looks incredible now. Close behind Equinox at Maidan. And, Emily Upjohn took Westover to pieces with that turn of foot, eased down at the finish. And she's very good at Epsom clearly over that course and distance, as Madeline Lloyd-Webber said afterwards. But she just looks top class, and I believe she's the only horse that the Lloyd-Webbers have ever bought midway through their career. So if that's anything to go by, John Gosden, I think, might have given them the nod that it was time to go for it, and she's paid them back so far, and she's going to have a serious stud value if she can keep on winning races like she did last time. I'm not going to fade her again. The last 2 times I faded her, I have been stung. So Emily Upjohn, the time is now in the Coral Eclipse. Let's hope Paddington doesn't keep on improving. Otherwise, it could be a tough one on Monday morning. That's it. What a great episode. We're really we've gone for some good selections. I think some value. One shorty in Emily Upjohn to get stuck into. Hopefully, some happy punters at the end of the weekend. It's great to be back. Great to be back at the podcast. We've now fully recovered from Glastonbury, so looking forward to getting stuck into the second half of the flat season. Any closing remarks?
Not that I can think of. I mean, I'm looking forward to watching. I'm going home this weekend, so I'll be watching it with my sister and with my parents, which would be nice. My sister's, my sister is, as some of you will know, very keen racing fan, so it would be nice to watch with her.
That will indeed. Brilliant. Great work. Good luck this weekend. Come on, Emily Upjohn. It's a goodbye from me, Tris.
And it's a goodbye from me, Charlie.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Well, mate.
Good work, boss.
I was on fire there, mate.
Yeah.